Hey, what's going on? It's Stokely from South Sunday Lane. The mind is more, I don't know, the mind and your belief system, and your ability to, will things into being or manifest things or believe on things as, the Christians say, believe on. So it seems to be very powerful. This weekend, I was watching some little kids play basketball, and during the whole basketball competition, one kid basically with the inside of his forearm, trying to reach for the ball, hits another kid right in his, right on his temple, basically right on his temple, on the side of his head. Um, Not with the outside of his forearm or his elbow or anything, just the inside of his arm hits the kid in his in his face, in the side of his face. So, um, he was taken out. He got a foul, took a foul shot for that, and he said his head was hurting. So he drank a little water. His head was still hurting, and his guardian was there. His aunt was there. So he went over there and excuse me, hugged up his aunt. His aunt hugged him up, rubbed his head. Come on, I'm recording right now. Hugged him up, rubbed his head, and probably within 10 minutes, he was better again. So medically, I don't know. Nothing was done. Medically, I don't know if you had really, how much damage he had suffered from that. There was another little kid that hit him. He couldn't necessarily have hit him that hard, but a hit placed in the right place can really harm you. So he 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 was ready to get back in the game again. Partially is that he loves basketball. He loves to play. He loves to compete. He loves to score and all these things. Um, this kid is different because he he works very hard. He drives very hard through the defensive lines. I don't know sports like that. And when he scores, he does not even emote. He reminds me of what's that basketball player named Duncan something. Duncan. I don't know what his name is. But that guy, when he used to score, he didn't even celebrate. He didn't even celebrate when he scored. He barely celebrated when he won the whole. He won like 3 championships, and you don't even see him rejoice at all. So very stoic, very focused, and anyhow, um, I think he believes in his ability. But that's not what I really want to bring attention to. Is that he was basically healed just by his aunt showing him affection, just by her rubbing his head, hugging him. He was there hugging her for probably a good 15 minutes, 10 minutes maybe. Hugged her up, rubbed his head, and he was ready to get back in the game. He was already healed. I don't know what words she gave him. I don't know what she said to him. He know that he got a hard hit. He felt that he got a hard hit, but that cured him basically. I don't know. That's what I'm saying. So I think there's a lot of phenomena we don't even understand, and what that makes me think about is as adults, adults, you're away from, well, at least in the society that we're in right now, in the very fragmented, individualistic, rugged individualism. Give me my space. Uh, you don't, where people don't get along, whatever. And we're living in our separate housing, and we're living separated from our parents and our family members, and sometimes we live away from our loved ones or whatever the case may be. Who's gonna hug you when you get a hit? You know, who's gonna rub your head when you get a hit and say, I mean, not just not a physical hit, but a hit in life where things attack you in life. when you're going through things in life, like who's gonna be the auntie, the mommy, the daddy, the grandma or whatever, to rub your hand and say, "Oh, you're okay. You'll be all right. You're all right. Get back in the game. You're all right." And then you'll actually feel physically better. Like, who's gonna do that for you as an adult, right? So it explains why. It could explain why there's so much drug use. It could explain why there are so many um, relationships that are based on just I don't know, one-sided. I don't know what you want to call it. I really don't know how it manifests inside these so-called relationships. Um, it's all a part of the self-soothing drug use, self-medication. You don't have the emotional, spiritual, and belief self-soothing when you don't have the emotional, spiritual, self-induced, coming from the inside of yourself, soothing. You know, when nobody else can provide it for you, who's gonna provide it for you? Who's gonna provide it for you when you can't provide it for yourself? So that's when religion comes in to tell you that, oh, God is everywhere, invisible, but with you all the time, like a mommy and daddy that's with you all the time. But at the same time, he's like a mommy and daddy that's with you all the time, so you can't do all this crazy stuff that you want to do because you get in trouble. So it cuts both ways. God is there to soothe you and comfort you, but at the same time, he's there also to probably give you a spanking, because he can see what you're doing. So I don't know. I mean, if you believe in that, if you're atheist and you don't believe in that, whatever, that's respectable. I gotta respect it. So how you gonna self-soothe now? You're all by yourself. You gotta have a belief system. You gotta have some kind of, I don't know, some kind of playbook that you're gonna go by. Listen, okay, if this happens, I'm gonna do this. If this happens, I'm gonna do that. I'm not saying religion doesn't have all the answers either. So, it doesn't have all the answers. Religion doesn't know what the internet is. I mean, these religions are how old? Thousands of years old. They don't have anything in them about the internet. You have to do like a, like a commentary, you have to have leaders that are, I don't know, not leaders. No, I don't really like that idea, but you have to adapt somehow, and I don't know how adaptable these things are. I mean, I haven't studied them to that level, but anyhow, all I'm saying is that who's gonna self-soothe you when your mommy, daddy, auntie, grandma isn't there to hug you? Some kids don't have any parents. Some adults didn't have any parents. Some adults grew up in the system. Some adults, their parents were abusive, so they never even ever had that. So, what kind of coping mechanism? What kind of coping mechanism are you expecting them to have when we're surrounded by materialism, glorification of drugs, glorification of violence, glorification of hate and anger, and we see more and more and more, I don't know, horror movies and shows about crime and first 48s and rap music and heavy metal and all these other ones that's giving you bad ideas. You already have enough bad ideas. A guy that used to work in my office, he had a cup. I hope I still have it. It said, "Lead me not to temptation. I can find my way myself." Yeah, there's a verse in the Bible where it says, "Lead us not to temptation, but deliver us from evil." Because thine is the kingdom, the power, and the glory. Amen. So I skipped a part of it. I don't even remember the whole thing. How does it go? It goes like, the Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want. No, wait. Forgive us our trespasses as we forgive us. Forgive us our trespasses as we forgive those who trespass against us. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. Because thine is the power, the glory, and people say different parts. Amen. In the kingdom, amen. But that's not how I used to say it when I was a kid, when they used to make us say it at school. So the yeah, like, lead me not to temptation. I can find my way myself. That's what the cup said on it. So it's basically, I'm gonna screw up anyway. So don't tell me anything. Don't. I'm gonna find a way to screw up somehow. Don't lead me towards screwing up. So, when we have these disgusting shows on TV, the disgusting lyrics, the disgusting culture from film and all this stuff that really influences us. When we're consuming all of that, it's leading us towards violence. It's leading us towards drug use. It's leading us towards just like unsustainable behavior patterns. You don't need to teach me the wrong thing. I'm gonna find out what the wrong thing is already, just by the nature of being a human being, just by the nature of trying to shirk responsibility, shirk accountability, all these things. I hope my recording works because the screen just froze. Anyhow, so I'm gonna find the wrong way to do stuff on purpose. So don't show me, don't teach me the wrong thing, you know. So anyhow, all I'm saying is it's rough for people. So it's understandable that we have a significant drug epidemic, a significant mental health epidemic. Like, are some people really in need of? Are some people really experiencing a mental health issue, or is it really just a behavioral issue where they're not acting in a sustainable social way? They're acting in an unsustainable, antisocial way, and it's because they haven't been given the proper tools, the training, the examples. They haven't been led the right way. They've been led the wrong way. It's possible because they've been led the wrong way. All those kids, that are in juvenile prison or whatever the case may be, or a lot of these men, when they talk about the fatherlessness, over 90% of the prisoners don't have a father in the home, right? Now, they do have a mother, and your mother can provide you guidance, but apparently it looks like we need two parents to provide us guidance. Maybe. That's what the stats are showing. Stats are showing that we need the fathers to provide some kind of guidance. Hopefully he has his head on his body, because if he doesn't, then it's not really going to help. But hopefully he has his head on his body. Hopefully he has a good head on his shoulders, and he can provide some guidance in a way to behave. Now, a bit okay. Now, stoicism. I'm talking. Now, stoicism and all this yada yada. Stoicism is about, from my taking, not allowing your emotions to overcome sustainability and logic. Basically being the change that you want to see, right? Because one of Marcus Aurelius' statements or whatever is that you got to be harder on yourself than you're hard on other people. I don't know. That's a very much, in my understanding, liberal idea. Be harder on yourself than you are on other people. That means allow other people to be themselves, but you do what you have to do. You do what you got to do, and let people do what they're gonna do. Right? So that's really what it is. That's really what it seemed like. People look at stoicism and they think it's something that's relatively conservative. I don't. I mean, a statement like that is not a conservative statement. It's saying let others live. Live and let others live. People just say live and let live. Live and let others live. Live and let live, right? So you let other people do what they want to do, but you do what you have to do. Do what you must do, and let other people do what they want to do. You know, you got to be the change you want to see. That's what Gandhi says, right? So you got to do it. You got to make the steps. You got to do what you got to do. So I haven't come to any conclusion. I just see that there's an understanding why adults struggle. Um, I'm all for the multi-generational household, which it cuts both ways. You have somebody to help you, but at the same time, you have somebody that's going to criticize you, and that's something that we try to avoid a lot in the West or in America. We try to avoid criticism. We try to avoid oversight. We try to avoid accountability. Well, I said no. I don't even want to say accountability because then people think that whatever they're responsible, but whatever responsibility, accountability, whatever. We want to do whatever we want to do. We don't want to be around our parents, grandparents, because they want you to live a certain way, and they don't. And our grandparents may not practice stoicism to say that. Listen, you know what? I'm the grandparent. I'm gonna do it the way that I do it, but I gotta let them do it the way that they're gonna do it in their time. You know, you know. So anyhow, didn't really make any conclusions, but um, our mind is more powerful than apparently um is powerful in a lot of ways. The little boy was healed just by his aunt comforting him. Didn't need any medicine, or that was the medicine. Love is the best medicine, right? I don't know. Some musician probably said something like that, but that's ridiculous. That's fantastic. I don't know. Maybe it is. Belief might be the best medicine. Belief might be the best medicine. We talk about the placebo, where I'm always saying, and I don't know if it's true, but I'm always saying placebo effect works 30% of the time. If you believe that you're going to be healed, you will be healed 30% of the time. These faith healers on the internet, on TV, on these evangelist websites, on these evangelist shows, say, believe that you'll be healed and you'll be healed. I don't know about all of that. I don't know about all that. I think those are setups. I think those are skits. But that little boy was healed. His aunt healed him just by showing affection to him. Um, yeah. I mean, it goes back even to Dianetics from Scientology. I don't know why Scientology gets such a bad rap. Maybe because of the people, but the science behind it might be somewhat useful. You know, sometimes we got to separate the religion from the. We got to we got to separate the practice, the practical, and the practitioners away from the science. As we already know, researchers produce whatever their funders tell them to put out. They prove whatever the funder tells them that they want to prove. Does that mean that science and the scientific method is bad? No. It just means that these patrons and the scientists are corruptible. They're human beings. They're corrupt. But it's like trust the science. And like the religious people say, don't trust man, trust God, basically. Unfortunately, we like to have charismatic leaders and charismatic people to deal with directly, but we just got to trust the science. We got to deal with the theory, you know, like people use physics to create the nuclear bomb that killed people. But is physics the science of physics, is that a bad science? Is that an evil science? It depends on who's using it. It depends on what you're using it for. No, the people are evil. The people are violent. You can use a knife to cook your food. You can use a knife to open a trach for somebody who's suffocating. You can use a knife to save a life. You can use a knife to sustain life. You can also use a knife to kill. So, is the knife evil? And then the gun, the people who are pro gun, they use the same logic also. But you can't use a gun for more than one thing. The only thing you use a gun to do is kill or shoot some cans and bottles or something like that. Either you're gonna use a gun for sport or you're gonna use it for kill. It really doesn't have any other uses. It's very dangerous. It doesn't. So I don't know if it extends to that. A knife, you can use a knife for a lot of different things. Anyhow, thank you for listening. I don't know if I've achieved anything. Believe in yourself. Believe that you'll be healed. Believe that there'll be overcoming. Believe that there'll be liberation. Believe that there'll be peace. Believe, believe. And 30% of the time it's gonna work. If you believe harder, maybe it'll work even more. I don't know. Thanks for listening.